Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is about letting go, and let me first give some context around it. Why am I bringing this up right now? Is It's the beginning of the year. It's 9th of January here. Maybe for some of you it's the 8th, so still kind of getting started. If you've set some New Year's intentions, or maybe you have some New Year's resolutions, you're probably still working on those. You're still at least committed to those in some way, and hopefully that there there is something that can be consistent throughout this year, that this New Year's intention that you've made, if there's some reason that you've set something that you want to do for this year, that you'll be able to see it through. And that was really the topic of last time. So what I wanted to do today was to share I mean, of course, I've got a lot of different intentions and goals and resolutions and things like that. But I wanted to share one of them with you that I think is important for me for 2024. So that has to do with letting go. That's why letting go is the main topic here. And of course, um, you know, highest intention versus small goals. Again, these are maybe perhaps nuances, not to get too caught up in. I think we talked a little bit about that last time. So this is okay. Let me just get into it. So letting go is the opposite of grasping. So sometimes we hold on to things for whatever reason, things that are painful for us to let go of, that perhaps our life has moved on, we're moving in a different direction, yet we still have these things that are still there, that are remnants of the past, that we don't need anymore, that aren't serving us anymore. And yet, for whatever reason, we still hold on to them. And then, I'm just look around my living room, as maybe you do the same. I can see objects in my house, in my place here, that when I look at it and I go, well, why do I still have this object? Why is it here in such a prominent place in my home? Uh, or look around wherever it is that you are. As you look around, and you may see things that they've just been there, and they're there for, well, I guess I don't know anymore why that thing's here. Maybe the reason that thing's here is because I just don't know what to do with it, right? And so this is kind of what letting goes about. And of course, this is just an example, looking around at physical objects. I mean, this is certainly one way of letting go is doing your spring cleaning, and moving things that, physical, literal things. Um, so in my case, one of the my goal for this year is, I'm here in Singapore, and I have been for, well, now that it's 9th of January, it's been over a year. So I've been here, over a year, yet I still have a lot of wheels that are still turning in Hong Kong. And, so I think it's time for me. And just, I don't know what the real, I suppose one of the prompts was that, I think my partner's been traveling back and forth to Hong Kong a lot lately. I'm still operating out of, my mindfulness company I've created is in Hong Kong. Um, Singapore laws are different, so for whatever reason, I'm still doing a lot of things out of Hong Kong, even though I'm here, which isn't really ideal. So for me, is it possible to start to let go of all of that stuff I have in Hong Kong? And and mostly it's administrative things. So can I, close my bank accounts? Can I all of this stuff that essentially, right, when we have all this extra stuff, it's extra things to take care of, extra administrative things, or things that take up mental space that we have to think about and worry about. My Hong Kong taxes for last year aren't completed either. So the things like this, kind of knowing that, hey, when I leave things out, when I have things that are open that I haven't closed, ends up keeping me and my mind occupied in ways that it need not. When we're in meditation, what causes us to get distracted? And so sometimes it's things that are still hanging on, that it's time for us to move on from and let go of. So this is just my example for this year. So one thing that I really want to do is to really be here, to be in Singapore, to kind of it's, I guess it's easy to just let things hang out there, or let things, to not tidy up, to let loose ends be. And I think that's really shows up in my meditation practice, is that as these loose ends are out, I can find that they really do distract me. And every once in a while I find that my mind wanders there. And so what is supportive in life and in our meditation practice, which is a microcosm of life, is it possible to simplify what we have in our lives? And this was a key learning from a retreat in 2019. The retreat that I went to in 2019 was one of the participants asked the teacher, what can I do to be more mindful in my daily life? And the teacher thought for quite a long time, and his reply finally was, simplify your life. Simplify your life. And so that's really, and that helps an awful lot. And I think maybe we sometimes forget about how important and how powerful it can be to simplify things by seeing what's extraneous, seeing what's not serving us, what's not what's the lady with that does the tidying up books, does it spark joy? That's it. Does it spark joy? If that thing doesn't spark joy, maybe it's thanks, Marie Kondo. If it doesn't spark joy, is it time for you to let go of this thing? So that's really what today's lesson's about, or today's talk is about. One, I know I'm needing to let go. Is it possible? Is there something in your life, as you examine, as you look around the physical environment that you're in, as you see your space filled with things, is it possible to let things be empty a little bit more? Or likewise, in your other areas of life, besides your physical environment of things that don't spark joy, is it possible instead to look at as well the rest of your life? What other things, is it relationships that you're hanging on to that aren't serving you any longer? Could it be a WhatsApp group that you're still involved in that doesn't need your attention anymore, that's taking up your time, your energy, and some of your mental focus? And I think this is something that last year I didn't fully understand, with some of the things that I was doing, just the amount of mental focus that it was taking away, that I found that as I was involved in that thing, how besides my involvement in that thing at the time of my involvement, also the thinking about that thing that was involved outside of the time that I was directly involved in it. So I think this is really interesting, and I think we often forget about the time that we spend thinking about things, and that's really valid as well. And so our excuse me, our mindfulness practice is a way for us to see how our minds are thinking about things and what is the urgent thing that comes up that brings our minds away from our breaths. Speaking of breath, let's go ahead and get into our practice. And as we do get into practice today, realize that breath is a powerful example of letting go. So if you have trouble letting go, just remember that every time you inhale, you have to let go of that breath, that air that's inside of you. So always we can practice with simpler things. And as we practice the simpler, the easier things, then we can learn in time to let go of the bigger things, of the slightly bigger things, and then eventually of the really big things. So be comfortable as best you can, sitting in your posture, whatever posture you've chosen today. Crown of the head towards the ceiling, chin parallel to the floor. Seeing if you can let your shoulders be relaxed. Seeing if you can let your neck relax. And if you find it's a bit difficult, you can always roll your head from side to side, to feel what those neck muscles feel like. You can roll your shoulders a few times to kind of invite a little bit of relaxation into the body. And then whenever you're ready, bringing that intention of stillness into your mind. Seeing if you can stay still. And then in this stillness, the sensation of the breath may tend to become more obvious. As this is the only movement that you will find in the body. And seeing if you can bring curiosity to this feeling of breathing. Expansion on the inhale. Release on the exhale. Feeling the belly getting bigger, maybe noticing the skin of the belly stretching slightly as you inhale. And noticing how that abdominal wall falls back towards the spine as you exhale. So perhaps the most basic form of letting go, the one that we can practice every few seconds, is the letting go of the air that's inside of our bodies. So we all can let go. We all must let go. No matter how much we think we must hold on. Every few seconds we let go. And so where's the mind now? Are you still focused on the breath, or has some thought caught your attention? Has some sound caught your attention? Has some bodily sensation caught your attention? So the breath may be the first, easiest piece to practice letting go. The second, which comes up in our meditation often, is distraction. So whatever it is that's coming up, whatever thought that right now feels so important that it's bringing our attention away from the breath, is it possible to acknowledge that thought? Not to ignore it, not to deny that it's there, but at least for the moment, here during my meditation practice, as I intend to stay focused on my breath, can I let go of that thought for now and come back to the breath? So taking these baby steps, letting go of the easier things so that we can, when the time is necessary, when the time is appropriate, to let go of the bigger things. Let go of this thought. Focus on the breath. Expansion, followed by release. Expansion, release. Letting your body dictate the pace of your breath, the depth of your breath. You simply staying still, feeling each and every breath. And soon we'll draw our period of formal practice, our period of dedicated time to practice mindfulness, to its close. And how does a meditation end? Does it end with a bell? Does it need to end at all? Is it possible to bring the mindfulness that you're cultivating now in this dedicated practice out into your regular daily life? So instead of ending with a bell, today let's fully focus on the next 3 breaths and then end this period of dedicated practice. and then feeling free to start to move your body, open your eyes, stretch out in any way you like. And letting go of this period of dedicated practice. You know, it's funny. I don't ring a bell somehow, even though I didn't ring a bell today. I don't know, somehow I don't know how Frank knows that the meditation's over. He always kind of comes over at the end. There's something, I don't know how he's got. I mean, cats have this funny intuition, don't they? I mean, even if you're, I don't know, cats, it's funny, my boys and I were talking about the difference between cats and dogs yesterday. It's just kind of funny. Yeah, there we go. Some pieces of fur flying around. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, I don't know how he knows. It's like some kind of, I mean, I know what he wants. I know why he's here, because I always feed him after I finish this. I finish this live stream. It's food time for Frank, so it gives him. I really wants him. He wants to come over and remind me. Yeah. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining in practice today. Now is the time for chat interaction. So feel free to write any questions or comments in the chat, and I'll start to have a look through those, and also think about what's coming up for me about letting go. Thank you, Cece, for your donation. Jean says, Marie Kondo has said that now that she has children of the art of tidying up is not as front burner as before she had kids. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's nice, right? It's nice to have some positive impact on people's lives in whatever way you can do that. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Micah. Thanks, Cece, and thank you, Ward. All I have to do is think. So, I wonder where my cat is, and she shows up like magic without fail. Yeah, it's there's some interesting stuff about cats, but I don't want to, if I sit and I talk about how great cats are, then dog lovers will usually pipe in and talk about all the great things about dogs, and I'm not it's not that I'm not a dog lover either. I grew up with a dog. Just that, hey, frankly speaking, living in Singapore, I just don't. It's just not very practical to have a dog. We're stuck in small apartments, so a cat seems to be a little bit more conducive to these environments. Seems to be a lot happier than I think a dog would be. Jean says, today I focused on my exhalation. I played around with not exhaling fully. Thank you, Jean. Thanks for sharing that. And that's, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What I'm going to do, I was about to say, I can go on for a long time talking about letting go. It's a big topic. But what I think I will do is, as I was preparing this morning, I really realized that it's time to go back to talk about MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. And it's something that I haven't talked about in a while, to bring the 9 attitudes of MBSR back and to use those as talking points, and as well to kind of talk about that course as well, and how it was for me the beginning of my mindfulness journey. So I'm going to dedicate in the next half month at least, maybe a little bit longer, as mid-January starts, to talk more about MBSR. And if there are ways to practice MBSR, or to take that course if you've never taken it. Anyway, I won't talk about it now. I'll save that for the time that it's time to talk about MBSR in the upcoming weeks. Thanks, Larissa. Thank you, Graham, for your donation. Thank you, Esme, for your donation. I'm working on letting go myself, and focusing on my exhale really helped me feel what not letting go can do. And that's interesting, right? And there's science around that, right? I mean, research around what happens when we inhale versus what happens when we exhale. And so there is it's the sympathetic nervous system is activated with the inhale, parasympathetic nervous system as we exhale. So exhalation is associated with relaxing. And, I think all of these things are interconnected. That, letting go through the breath and how letting go with the breath feels has some similarity to how letting go of a lot of other things feels, especially those things that we're clinging to, that we know we need to let go of. So I wish you all the best as you examine your life. Find the things to let go of and let go, and go through that process of letting go. As I was doing a little, it was like, what was it called? Winning Screen Time. I went to a lecture at my kids' school just to kind of learn about screen time for kids. And what's interesting, too, is they had a workshop about screen time for adults, too. And to look at your own screen time. Are you modeling screen time well as an adult? And one of the exercises was to go into your whatever, if you have a Android or an iOS device, to go in and look at how many times you open your phone per day, how much time you spend, what are the top 10 apps that you use, and then ask yourself, categorize them. What are the apps that are serving you, that are doing something good for you, that are sparking bliss? And then what are the apps that you wish you were spending less time on, that you're like, wow, I can't believe I spent that much time on it? And the challenge can you look at that number one thing that you spend time on that you don't want to be spending time on, and delete it? And I thought that was interesting. So that's can be a part of letting go as well, is looking at media consumption and seeing what is no longer serving you in your media consumption as well. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Let's close practice now in the way that we do, which is by sending our well wishes out to ourselves and to each other. Repeat after me if you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. And may all life on our planet, known and unknown, human and non-human, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks so much. Be back in about 48 hours. It was like 47 and a half hours. So look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.